Have you ever realized that the moment you start to change, truly change, the whole world around you suddenly becomes uncomfortable? No one says it out loud. They cover it up with jokes, with fake kind advice, or with a strange silence when you touch on something deeper. But don't be fooled. Deep down, there's only one raw truth. Your evolution is a living accusation against their stagnation. You didn't do anything wrong. You're simply stepping out of the invisible cage they still call normal. And that terrifies them. Maybe right now, you're starting to feel it. You begin to think differently, act differently, and suddenly, you feel alone, misunderstood, judged. No one warned you that building a mind as solid as steel also means becoming the insecurity of those still living in mediocrity. Nietzsche saw this clearer than anyone. He knew a strong mind is not just a personal victory, it's a living challenge to the rotten order the crowd still clings to. If you've ever wondered why the path to maturity feels lonely, why the stronger you become, the fewer people understand you, stay, because in today's video, we're going to walk a path that isn't comfortable, but necessary. The path of building a mind so unshakable, the world trembles before it. If these words are knocking on your soul, hit like on the video and subscribe to the channel so we can walk this journey together. Because after today, you'll never see life through the same eyes again. Part 1. Nietzsche's core philosophy, strength is born from chaos. Don't let anyone fool you. True strength is not born in comfort, nor is it built by hollow motivational quotes. It's forged in chaos, in the long nights without answers, in those moments when the world seems to collapse beneath your feet, and you are forced to rise. With bare hands and a bare heart. Nietzsche understood this more deeply than anyone. He once wrote, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." That's not just poetic beauty. It's a psychological diagnosis, a harsh law no one can avoid. If they truly want to become great, you might be searching for strength. Yet afraid of pain, you long for resilience. But pray for life to be easier. Wake up. No strength is born from peaceful days. No invincible mind is shaped within a comfort zone. It is in the moments you break apart, the moments you feel like you've lost everything, that the strongest seeds begin to grow. Pain, failure, alienation, loneliness. These are not signs of defeat. They are raw material, the blazing forge that molds extraordinary will within you. Think back. When did you grow the most? Was it when everything was smooth and easy? Or was it when you collapsed, fell to your knees, and had to get back up on your own, with no one to comfort you, no one to guide you? Exactly. That was the moment you were reborn. Nietzsche didn't romanticize pain. He didn't blindly praise suffering. He stared it straight in the eye and revealed a truth most people dare not accept: the chaos within you, if you're brave enough to face it, will become a smelting fire, forging you into a soul that cannot be broken. And when you learn to stop avoiding the chaos, when you stop begging for life to be easier, and instead start wishing to become stronger, that's the moment. A dancing star begins to be born inside you. If you're hearing these words and your heart trembles, even just a little, hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next, because what's ahead will challenge you even more, but at the same time, it will awaken the most powerful version of yourself that you've always carried within. Part 2. The Death of God and the Burden of Absolute Freedom. But if you think that simply learning to endure pain is enough to build an invincible mind, then you haven't seen the full picture yet, because Nietzsche went even further. He lifted the greatest veil, tearing apart the final illusion humanity had clung to for thousands of years. He declared, "God is dead." This wasn't mockery. It wasn't a shallow rejection of spirituality. It was a warning, a wake-up call. Nietzsche didn't kill God. He killed the illusion. The illusion that there is always an invisible hand guiding us. A perfect plan made just for each of us. A hidden reason behind every pain. The death of God was the collapse of every psychological crutch mankind had built to avoid the harsh uncertainty of life. No more savior. No more divine destiny. No one left to save you from your own inner chaos. You stand alone. In the desert of absolute freedom, and this is where the true beginning lies, the beginning of responsibility, the beginning of power. Because when there's no one left to blame, when there's no comfort in saying everything happens for a reason, you are forced to become the one who creates meaning for your own existence. No more commandments from above. Only you and the untouched chaos. What will you do? Shrink into despair or step forward like a blacksmith? Forging your own soul in the fire of freedom, Nietzsche called it the responsibility of existence. A gift, and also a sentence. This freedom is not pleasant. It is ruthless. It is brutal. It is not for those who still need approval, forgiveness, or a ready-made blueprint. But if you're brave enough to embrace it, you will gain a kind of power no one can take from you. The freedom to define yourself. From this moment on, you are no longer the product of borrowed beliefs, no longer a puppet of fate. You become the creator, the bearer, the one who reshapes the world, starting from within. If you're still here, if these words are touching the deepest part of your soul, hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel to walk with me on the journey of rebirthing your most powerful self. Because what's coming next will bring you face to face with your greatest challenge. Part 3. Übermensch, the creator of values, the one who transcends all limits. But Nietzsche didn't stop at tearing down illusions. He also pointed to a destination, a new model, a living ideal, a human of the future, one who rises above all prejudice, laws, and the weakness of the old species. He called it Übermensch, the Overman. Understand this clearly. The Übermensch is not a caped superhero, not a being with supernatural powers. The Übermensch is a soul who has transcended himself, a human who no longer lives by the commands of the crowd, no longer seeks acceptance from the outside world. He does not ask for permission to exist. He creates his own values. He doesn't ask, "Is this allowed?" He asks, "Is this worthy of me?" And that inner shift changes everything. When you're no longer the obedient one, but the creator. The world is no longer something to endure, but a blank canvas for you to weave meaning with your own hands. But that journey is not easy. To become the Übermensch, you must kill the parts inside you that still cling to acceptance, cheap comfort, and the nods of the crowd. You will face the pain of not belonging anywhere, the emptiness of having no guide, the coldness of walking alone, no applause, no spotlight. Most people can't handle that. They run. They crawl back into their old cages, clutching ancient dogmas for a bit of safe warmth. But those who are brave enough to stay, to endure the rawness of freedom, to carry the loneliness of the Creator, will begin to build a mind this world cannot shake. And then, they no longer need recognition. They no longer need conditional love. They no longer need salvation from outside. They become the source of their own power. They give birth to themselves. They live not to be accepted, but because they are worthy of existence. If you can feel the electricity crawling beneath your skin right now, if your heart is tightening just a bit, you are ready to move forward. Hit like on this video and subscribe right now, because this journey has only just begun. Next, we'll step even deeper into a territory few dare to enter: the supreme loneliness of the strong. And why? That loneliness is not a punishment, but a privilege. Part 4: The Loneliness of the Strong, and how it rebirths your soul. There is a brutal truth that no one wants to tell you. The stronger you become, the lonelier you will feel. Not because you want it, not because you choose to isolate yourself, but because the moment you rise, the old world no longer knows how to deal with you. Nietzsche called them the herd. People who live by borrowed rules, pre-made values, and fears that have been justified. And when you dare to think differently, live differently, and rise above those old limits, you no longer fit. You become too unpredictable, too free, too real, and that scares them. The loneliness you feel is not failure. It's a sign. It's a sign that you're stepping out of the collective comfort zone and into a territory meant only for free souls, a desert with no lights, no applause, no map, only you and the silence. But in that silence, you will hear your true voice, the voice that's been buried beneath dust, the dust of expectations, fear, and habit. If you're brave enough to stay, to not run, to not turn back, you will witness something miraculous. You will be reborn, no longer a patchwork of social expectations, no longer a mirror for other people's needs, but a raw, powerful, and unbreakable being. But remember this true freedom, true strength, is never free. We pay for it with loneliness, with being misunderstood, with long days of no one truly seeing us. You'll be called cold, you'll be labeled arrogant, you'll be torn from the warm embrace of approval, but that price is only an investment. In exchange, you gain the most precious asset of all, the full ownership of yourself. No one controls your mind. No one defines your worth. No one can make you kneel. You belong to yourself, completely, non-negotiable. If what I've just said is echoing like a call inside your chest, if you feel like you've gone too far to turn back, hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel to step deeper into the journey of soul rebirth. Because next, we will face the greatest enemy Nietzsche ever exposed, the collective mediocrity, and how it strangles every great mind. Part 5. The War Against Collective Mediocrity. The Rise of the Free Soul. When you begin to step away from the herd, don't expect a welcome. Don't expect applause. Don't expect admiration. What's waiting for you? Is suspicion, mockery, cold hostility. Nietzsche understood this better than anyone. The one who dares to shine is the one who threatens the darkness the crowd has grown comfortable in, and the world, the masses, the so-called collective. They don't hunt those who are like them. They hunt the free souls, because your existence is a living accusation against their smallness. When you start to think differently, live differently, stand firm without flinching, you're not just different. You become a mirror, and that mirror forces them to see the mediocrity they've been trying to forget. Society doesn't want revolutionaries. Society wants obedience. Society praises humility. Mostly to suppress ambition, they turn ambition into a sin. They paint freedom as arrogance. They label independence as rebellion. That's how collective mediocrity operates, not through open violence, but through erosion, through cold stares, through whispers behind your back, through awkward smiles hiding their fear of your difference. They don't attack you because you're wrong. They attack you because you dared. You dared to think bigger. You dared to stand tall. You dared to demand more from yourself and from life. And that makes them feel smaller in their own eyes. Nietzsche called it slave morality, a value system built by those who couldn't reach greatness, and so chose to drag everyone down to their level. Don't be fooled. It's not compassion. It's resentment disguised as morality. If you refuse to bow, if you refuse to dissolve into mediocrity, you will be attacked, but you will also become dangerous. A necessary danger, because in a sleeping world, your awakening is an act of rebellion. If what you're feeling right now is a fire rising in your chest, then let it burn. Don't smother it to make others comfortable. Don't apologize for daring to exist proudly. If you've made it this far, hit like on the video and subscribe to the channel to keep walking deeper into the journey of the free soul. Because next, we'll uncover the ultimate price and the immortal reward of building a mind that cannot be broken. Part 6. The Cost and the Reward of an Unbreakable Mind. If by now you still think that becoming invincible is a path full of light, then let me be blunt. You will pay a price. You'll lose friends. People who once laughed with you will quietly leave once they no longer see themselves reflected in your eyes. You'll lose opportunities. Doors that once opened when you knew how to nod at the right time will slam shut when you dare to stand upright. You'll lose comfort, the shallow kind, the borrowed dreams that once felt safe. You will lose a lot, but in return, you will gain something no amount of power, no hatred, no loneliness can ever take from you. You will gain yourself, whole, undivided, not for sale. You'll gain integrity, something you can't buy, can't beg for, only forge. You'll gain clarity, the ability to see what others fear to face. You'll gain presence, a quiet presence that silences a room, the presence of a person who no longer needs to prove anything, no longer ask for permission to be themselves. And in that moment, while the world hides behind masks, chasing acceptance, you, by simply standing still, being yourself, become a presence that makes the world tremble. But don't get it twisted, this power doesn't come from outside. It's not a gift. It's not found in cheap self-help books. Not built through hollow slogans. It is forged in silence. In long nights where no one is watching. In the small choices no one celebrates. It's the result of a never-ending battle between the person you once were and the person you are becoming. Nietzsche didn't want blind worshipers. He wanted to create earthquakes in your soul so that you stop crawling for approval and start walking on your own bloody, blazing feet, so that you become a rare danger. Not because you harm anyone, but because your existence forces others to face the smallness they've accepted for too long. If you're hearing these words and something inside you is burning, don't extinguish it. Hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel to continue walking the path meant for the few, the path of those souls who cannot be broken. And now, if you're ready, brace yourself, because next comes the final invitation to build a dangerous soul and change the world by the force of your very existence. Conclusion. The final call. Building a dangerous soul. If you've made it all the way here, pause for a moment, not to rest, but to recognize something important. You are no longer the same person. No one listens this far unless a fire has already been lit within them. A silent call that cannot be extinguished. You've changed, and that change is irreversible. Now, you stand at a crossroads. You can turn back, accept a comfortable but false reality, or you can move forward onto a path few have the courage to walk, the path of dangerous souls. But understand, this dangerous doesn't mean threatening others with brute strength or sharp words. Dangerous is when you exist in such pure truth that no one can manipulate you. No one can impose cheap illusions on you. No one can control you with fear or desire. You become a presence, a mirror that cannot be bent. A dangerous soul does not need to scream, does not need to prove. It simply exists, and the world feels the difference. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to argue with anyone. Your silence becomes the sharpest sword, because in a world full of delusion and fear, a truly free human being is the ultimate nightmare. And if you reach that place, you won't just change your life. You will change the world, not by force, but by example, by becoming living proof that a free soul, an unbroken mind, can still exist and shine brilliantly even in the thickest darkness. Nietzsche didn't write for the masses. He wrote for you, for the rare ones who dared to live fully, who dared to carry freedom like a sword, and dare to bleed on the journey of creating themselves. If you're still listening, let your actions reflect that inner resolve. Hit like on this video as a silent declaration. Subscribe to the channel so you don't lose yourself in the desert of forgetfulness. And finally, leave one thing in the comments, a truth you've kept buried for too long, a thought, a belief, a voice that you know, once spoken. You will never be the same again. Write it down, not for anyone else, but for you. This isn't just a video. This is a door, a first step for those bold enough. You are ready, and the world will have to change, starting with you.